Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's been a while since I've made a public video, but I got a lot to talk about today, so I figured I'd inform the general public as well. All right, so here we go. Hope you guys read through the gains reviews that we've been racking up some gains in our Cryptosomniac community. Hopefully y'all come join. It's very simple, cryptosomniac.com, and hit the products page right here. You can buy the technical analysis course, okay, only 20 bucks, right? And then you get access to all these locked channels that you see, folks. Every single one of these contains valuable information, whether it's the stock market. And by the way, we're actually hiring a Forex expert. So if you are interested in Forex, we'll have that soon as well. But all these lock channels contain very important information pertaining to the topic. As you can see, education section is packed with information about technicals, macroeconomic reading, how to understand market psychology, all kinds of fun information, okay? We have an ICO chat, a trader talk channel where everyone in the community engages by discussing ideas, whether it's regarding technicals, what's happening with other projects, trade opportunities, etc. All right. And then we have leverage trading where we have shorts, whether it's shorting Bitcoin or XRP or Cardano or Ethereum. And then long trades, same thing, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, whatever is, on leverage trading on different exchanges. We typically utilize Bybit or BitMEX. So if you are familiar with those, do come join. And then we have these short-term, medium-term, and long-term positions where we explain, our analysts and myself explain that what are the positions that we're taking for spot buys and how long are we going to hold them, what our target profit is, what our entry is, what our stop is. We're very clear in this community and we show you exactly what we're doing. Okay, there's no sort of hidden agenda or anything. All right, so unlike most communities, folks, we're also very engaged with our members. You could see I put up a video every single day and night. Okay, so if you're in the Asian time zone, the Pacific side, or you're in Africa or Australia, I put out nightly updates too. Right now, it's morning time for me. By the end of the day, I'll have another video out for my Advantage members only, okay? And you can see I do this every single night, all right? And I have multiple updates through the day. Folks, I do this stuff full-time. I trade full-time, so you know that we're actually engaging and actively engaging with our community members to ensure that they know exactly what's happening in the market. Let us do the hard work for you, okay? Enough of that, all right? As you can see, tons of videos and information. So let me show you guys what this community is all about, okay? So let's get to the analysis. First things first, I want to show you guys something that we had on the 5-minute chart yesterday, okay? This was a very easy scalp long that I and myself and my other community members got to take. Very easy money, okay? As you can see, my entry for the long, I was on this chart right here. As you can see, the 5-minute chart. I don't really like to trade off of the 5-minute chart unless, it's a very easy count and, it's a easy trade that you can knock out with other higher time frame support systems, okay, support zones. So what I saw was something like this, okay? I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 waves down. I was like, okay, that's pretty simple. All right, let's see how the ABC is playing out. Here's the A. B swept the lows right here, which is perfect. This is exactly what I want to see. Sometimes when you get a B like this, you never know if the C is going to break up much higher or the C is going to be fast wick and then price, tumbles down really fast, okay? But I saw this B sweeping these lows, meaning that it looks like someone wanted to buy this area right here, generate some liquidity and push a little bit higher, okay? At least for that time frame. And they did, right? So we got in around 83.20. I sold somewhere between 50 and the 618 fib, all right? And you can see my target was exactly that I stated it was going to be, right? It was between 84.15 and 84.40, all right? So it's going to be between the 50 fib and the 618 fib. And as you can see, I got out of my exit right there. Quickly close a nice positive trade in less than 15 minutes, guys. Easy money for the day, or for some people it's the week and a month, depending how large your trade size is. All right. Remember that trading leverage and trading margin is very dangerous. Please do not attempt this if you don't know what you're doing. But lucky for you, I actually have a tutorial video for my Advantage members in education. So they watch how I trade and they can follow me if they want. All right. None of this stuff is financial advice. I give you guys all the knowledge that I have from over the years to show you exactly how I trade and how I make money in this market day in and day out. But I'm also not here to gloat to you that I'm always winning my trades. Okay, you can see there are times, well, I guess I've gained here. There are times that I lose trades too, as you can see. Stop hit, negative 2% loss, right? There's going to be more losers. That stop hit, negative 5% loss. So I do take in a lot of losers too. But remember, to be successful in this market, you don't have to have a 100% strike rate. You honestly need to have 45 to 50% hit rates where your winners are bigger than your losers. That's all you need to keep in mind, okay? All right, so with that being said, on the 5-minute chart, as you can see, I had that nice wave count, got that long in, and I was hoping to actually short from that region down, but I was a bit uncomfortable, and I'll show you why. Okay, on the 1 hour time frame, what we were seeing is this green block right here. Okay, this was support, all right, and I didn't really want to short support right now. Okay, or at least yesterday when this was happening. So what I did was, I waited and waited, and I want to see now that this red block actually becomes resistance, or price shoots up and still creates another lower high. Okay, because you can see this is your double top right here, right? That's your double top, and then that top was validated when this marker right here got broken, which is about 83.25. That's how double tops or double bottoms work. When you have a double bottom, you want to see that first low right here, or the first high from the low was created. That area, as you can see, that's a double bottom, right? That was broken by doing this. So that means that this area right here was the area that you want to watch for the confirmation of the double bottom. So same thing right here. To watch the confirmation of the double top, you're watching this top, this low, and that's the second top. So once that got broken, I knew for the most part this double bottom had been validated, all right? So you can now see that the red block, which has been support, and then resistance right there, resistance, and then it became support right here. And now it's kind of like struggling. It hasn't broken it up or down. This is why I'm a bit more cautious that this is still chop. Price is not decided direction just yet. And you can see that's also visible on the 4-hour chart. I stated that as long as in our Cryptosomniac community, I stated that as long as price stays above this EQ, it could still get up to this area right here, up here to $87.50 or $8,800. Okay, it could go even higher, but if price stays above this EQ on the 4-hour time frame, because on the 4-hour time frame, this was support, resistance, you could see right there, support and support, right? Price hasn't broken it yet. You need a confirmed 4-hour candle break under this area, which is around 82.20. Or you want, I don't know, for a confirmed 4-hour, technically you now want a bullish engulfing, or you want a nice break above 84.25 on the 4-hour. Right? Those are really the only areas that you should be watching on the 4-hour time frame for longs. And if you want to short, you want to watch for a 4-hour break under 82.20. Right, so 84.25 and above for long, and 82.25 down for shorts. Okay. On the 30-minute chart, I did see something like a falling wedge, but I don't know if I want to call it a falling wedge. This is just more of like a rounded move right here. Nothing special in that. And the 4-hour chart, you could see that this was the ascending trend line on the RSI, but it used it as resistance. Price used it as resistance, and now we're seeing maybe another trend line being created, kind of like this. So I could see the RSI coming down to this trend line probably soon, or maybe this bottom one. All right, so like I said, price could still keep on moving up a little bit and then pull back down. Okay, now let's see how things look on the daily time frame. Okay, so A few days ago, we were watching the break of this area, 82.18, which price did with this big candle. And now we have sort of this big wick to the top, very small body. I don't know, this is basically like a doji. But for me, this is a bearish doji because it has such a huge wick to the top. And the follow-up candle so far has been bearish. So if we close on the daily under 82.18, which also marks, the close under this 4 hour, that means we're definitely more bearish, okay? Because not only have we taken out the break right here on the daily, but we've broken the EQ on the 4 hour, which gives me more confidence to short, all right? All trading is about how many different possibilities you can find on different time frames that give you the ability, the signal to short or long, right? That's really all trading is. And once you understand that, it's really just a game of stacking, the number of pros and cons for the case of longing or shorting. The game becomes easier because then you're looking for just, different time frames that confirm to you that, okay, I can short based on the 30-minute, I can short based on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily. Okay, I'm going to go short. But when you have smaller time frames giving you one signal and the larger telling you another, it's a bit more riskier, okay? So waiting for the optimal trade, folks, is really what you want to be doing, always, all right? Here's the weekly chart. I've drawn these areas, these blocks where I see previous previous resistance that could now be an order block of support. And you could see we're basically bouncing in that area. I personally think that we could go down a little bit more based on my chart, which is something like this, okay? I did this 5-wave count a little while back. If you guys are in the Cryptosomniac Advantage community, you know about this count, you know about this descending triangle. I've been talking about this descending triangle for so long, I feel like an old man. But this is your wave 1, 2, 3 up here, 4, and 5, right? And then what I figured out was I was trying to figure out what this count is up here, but I think I finally figured out that this was a W, this was an X, and the deeper Y is actually still to come, okay? Because the Y is probably going to be digging in a bit deeper than this consolidation period. But that doesn't mean that price can't go up, just a little bit more and then pull back down, which I think, is exactly what it's doing right now. Because if we look on the where's the 200 moving average over here? Yeah, I'm going to turn this into a 200, okay, so you guys can see. All right, and I'm going to turn on the pivots so you guys understand exactly where we are. Okay, where are the pivots? Okay, so there's the pivots, right? You can see the purple is the 200 moving average. Price is consolidating under that. Historically, when Bitcoin consolidates under the 200 moving average or breaks it on a few daily candles, more than likely has more direction to the downside. Okay, so this is why I'm still more confident that my Y could come down even more. All right, the pivot above is 8890 or so, or 8900. So we could have a pullback down here and then blast through towards the pivot. Okay, but that doesn't mean that this is the start of a new bull market. That means that we then have to reassess how price gets to this pivot and reacts around here. It could pull back down even deeper, because we don't know how much demand is in here and how many professionals are sitting here to drive the prices up. For all we know, we just have a lot of, retail or not so not so aligned professionals who don't know exactly where this market is heading off to, and they may buy this bounce, sell it up here, and then just wait for the market to just tank. Okay, this is really what happens in markets when you don't properly sort of take profit or understand the larger picture at play. All right, this is why I'm still confident that we could have a bit more downside. I just don't know if it's going to go up and then pull back down, or if we're going to go straight down. The odds lean towards right now that we're going to go straight down, just because we are, again, consolidating under the 200 moving average. Let's see. I want to show you guys, this thing right here that I put up a little while back to our Advantage members, and I stated that, I found this from one of our partners on Twitter, one of our friends on Twitter, And he mentioned that, historically when July and August have been negative, September has been negative as well. And when September has been negative, there's a higher likelihood of October being negative, and so on and so forth. So you could see that in 2018 when we had August negative, right? September, October, November, and December was negative. Okay, so this year we had July and August negative. September is now negative. Now we're coming into October. Now we have to see how October is going to react. Okay, so that's the interesting part that I'm kind of looking forward to. Is I think the last quarter, Q4, is going to be I don't know. I think it might be negative, but I think most of the negativity will be played out by November, and by December we might bottom out and start that new bull run or something. Okay, by the way, if you guys haven't checked out our interview with Austin, he's a former Citi hedge fund manager. It's on YouTube. Please go check it out. It's on our YouTube channel. Okay, just wanted to mention that real quick. So anyway, folks, that's what I think personally may happen. Here's something that I put up, in June, okay, the bear versus bull case for Bitcoin. All right, I drew this chart a little while back, way back in June, explaining how if we look in the monthly time frames, right, we could be in something where we've finished a big 5-wave count and we might be starting a bigger, another 5 waves. All right, so what we're looking at right now is, this 5-wave could have ended in the black, could have ended in A, B, right here, and could be the C could be still coming, right? Remember, when I drew this, we hadn't even made it up to that 618 target, but you could see my B target was the 618 retracement of this top and this bottom. Okay, so let's see how that's played out so far. As you can see, I drew this well before that top happened. Okay, and now we're on that 4th month of decline, which could be again the C wave, or we could be in the white right now, which is, we could have finished A, B, C was a capitulation at 3.1K, and now we're starting the white count, which is wave 1 is white, all the way up to the 13,900 area, right? 13,400, 900, wherever you want to look at it. Wave 2 comes down all the way to about $6,800. Wave 3 goes up to the previous all-time high, which is about 19,000, 20,000, and then wave 4 comes back to again 13, and then wave 5 blasts off to $75,000, $80,000. Okay, but remember that I am also someone who is very cautious, and I like to look at history as an example of how assets and new asset classes like Bitcoin play out. So here's gold, and again I've drawn this in June, and I explained that gold has a similar price structure to the Bitcoin, quote unquote bubble popping. This was the run up to 20K for Bitcoin, right? Just like it is for gold, around $200. Then we had a, pull back, sideways movement, capitulation, a low put in, and then for, good year and a half, we rallied all the way to about 130. People thought that we're going to go back to all-time high, but we didn't. We actually came back and retraced almost 78.6% of this entire move from this low to this high. Okay, that's one example. All right, here's a second example. Here's the Tokyo Stock Exchange, the Nikkei. Same thing, big bubble, right, for the Nikkei. Prices sharply drop, drop, capitulation, put in, and then a big run up, and then it retraces the entire movement right here. This is why I'm really cautious about, those who are talking about Bitcoin thinking that we have to bounce here and we have to go to 20K or 30K or whatever. This is historically the same anatomy that we see from Tokyo Stock Exchange, we see with gold, and we actually see it with silver. I want you guys to do your own research. Every single bubble that has popped historically has a similar structure to what Bitcoin is seeing right now. There are always, after a capitulation like this, there's always a big burst, a big surge, thinking that we're going to go back to all-time highs and higher. But really what happens is we stop, 50 or 61.8% of the way of the all-time high to the capitulation, and then we just reverse back down, retracing the entire way, or just killing the asset, honestly. Okay, so it's different, in different assets, but I want you guys to take a look at that by yourself. Okay. On the 3-day chart, though, the interesting thing is we're seeing these tweezer bottoms right here, which is, kind of interesting because, again, that's a temporary bottom that could, be put in right now. And as per the volume profile right here, there's a lot of, support coming around right here. You can see, okay? So breaking this right now is unlikely, at least as per this chart. But if it does break, the next big area that we can drop to is about $6,400, okay? And that's where you can see where I get my wave 2 right here on the monthly, the white count. You can see wave 2 I've drawn right around 6250, okay? So you can see that I've been watching this market closely on smaller and larger time frames, and I know exactly what's at play right now, because while most people are thinking that we're gonna go up, I'm thinking that what are the possibilities that we could go down and repeat what's been repeated in history so many times. Okay, it's very important for us to learn from our history, because if we don't, we're more likely to fall into the trap of not understanding exactly what could happen based on historical references, right? So I've showed you guys a lot of things. I showed you the weekly chart, the 3-day chart. Let's see something else. The daily, another thing that I mentioned is Bitcoin loves sort of stopping out both longs and shorts in both directions, right? So you can see once this wick went up all the way up here, and this wick stopped out this wick right here. So it stopped out the longs right here and the shorts up here. So now Bitcoin could resume sideways direction 2 for a little bit and push on up, or we could just be flagging right here while we've stopped out both shorts and longs. And now the professionals have a good way to either collect longs and shorts and then drive out the direction whichever way they want. Okay, again, my favorability is more to the downside for now, but we'll have to see exactly what happens. There is another possibility where Bitcoin could be in this pattern called a bullish checkmate. It looks like this. Okay, typically what happens is we have something like this, okay, where we have a big sort of capitulation, sideways movement, a support is created. The support doesn't really get touched again, and then we kind of take off, right? So if we kind of have more sideways movement like this, where this low right here, around $7,700 does not get touched. So all we do is kind of go like this, create higher lows and higher lows. Then we're going to have a big spike up. Okay, but again, that doesn't mean that we can't just, where'd that chart go? We can't just hit the bottom of this triangle or this pivot and then push back down. Okay, but the bullish checkmate has not been validated just yet, because technically we had a low and then we took out that low. Okay, so now we need to ensure that we just have higher lows just going sideways. All right. Let's see how Bitcoin dominance looks. I've talked about this chart many times. I've been watching this thing very closely because I mentioned a while back that on the 3-day chart, we were seeing the bearish divergence right here. The red arrow right there, higher high in price, and right there, a lower high in RSI. And I knew for the most part that the dominance was breaking. This falling wedge was starting to break. Okay, so there's just a lot of things that were coming against Bitcoin. So the price drop was almost imminent in my opinion. And this support right here is also broken, and you can see prices really starting to struggle to break above that. So if that keeps happening and the dominance goes down, historically that means the price of Bitcoin is about to go down too. Okay, so I think that's Bitcoin is in a very peculiar spot as per the Bitcoin dominance. All right, so do be careful, because again, this kind of validates our theory about price has a higher chance and a path of least resistance to go down. Okay. Let's check how Ether is doing. On the daily chart, again, we keep getting rejected right here. If you were part of our Advantage community, I stated that you want to take profit up here if you were long on Ether. We got into small longs, honestly. I think we took a long at like 180 and then we sold off at 195 or something. And I largely want to avoid this because this was a weekly resistance block. Okay, there was no way I was going to touch this area right here to long. All right, but this was a shorting opportunity, and I mentioned it to my Advantage members. I think some of them caught it, some of them, didn't. But this was a perfect shorting opportunity where you were shorting weekly resistance, and I mean, this is a beautiful short. This one candle basically probably covered you the gains for a month or a good year if you caught this resistance right here, right? And you can see again, now we're stuck in this previous consolidation over here. And if this candle closes lower than this, okay, which is about 171, then more than likely we're going to go down more. Okay, probably 150 or 130. All right, let's check out how LTC is doing. Litecoin looks interesting. I saw something like this, which was a head and shoulders on the line chart. There's that left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Technically, the neckline's already broken, but how far down it can go, it's probably measured from this high to this neckline. So that means it could go all the way down to about, that's a measure of 135 down to 60. So down $60. Okay, that's a ridiculous measure because from here down, it's supposed to go down another $60. So that's like $6 or something. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, but more than likely, it could at least, go down to $50, which I think is more possible, So do be careful on Litecoin. All right. So we talked about Litecoin, talked about Ethereum, XRP too. Just be careful, folks. Like I've talked about XRP for so long now. I mentioned that more than likely XRP is going to go back to its entire full retrace way down here. Okay, let me make this a 3-day chart. Way down here. Okay, I still think it can happen. All right, because I think nowadays alts just don't have enough power. Whether Bitcoin goes up or down, they still crash. So if that does happen, XRP could still come down to about 1,400 sats. All right. See how the SPX is doing. Here's that SPY chart right there. That head and shoulders actually did play out and then bounce back up. Let me see. Let's see if we have a. Let me see if I have a weekly chart over here. The S&P 500 is still sort of struggling in this area, that 3,000 marker. And what you can see right now is from this low to this high right here, that has already been broken. So this is a, in terms of technicals, that's a very sort of bad break. All right. And this right here was happening as well. Okay. Your sort of rising wedge, or you can draw it something like this actually. I think this one's a little bit better. That's probably better. So you can see the rising wedge has already sort of broken out. Now the bears are, the bears have done their job. Now it's the bulls' job to make sure that this 3,000 ceiling gets broken. If not, we're going to go down much lower. Okay, I'm going to take out these fibs. If we line up these fibs from, this bottom to this top right here, yeah, that brings about the 618 fib almost to 2,600 points. Okay, if we go deeper, full retracement is 2,300 points. That's a steep drop. That's a 1,000-point drop, right? So again, something to just be cautious and careful about. Again, another reason why I'm a bit more bearish in the crypto markets, because the S&P 500, the American economy is on the brink of potentially, falling into recession mode. The interest rates of the 2-year and the 10-year Treasury notes have already inverted, which has historically led to an upcoming recession. The president now facing impeachment, which has also never been good for the stock market when a president faces impeachment. And pre-election years are also not the greatest years for stock markets. And on top of that, October is typically the bloodiest month in the stock market. So all those things in mind, this is why in our community, we don't just look at Bitcoin and chart 15-minute time frames. I look at everything, folks, from smaller time frames to large in Bitcoin, and from the macroeconomic factors of what's happening in the equities markets to what's happening in global markets too. All right, so we keep a wide range focus, and as you can see, we had an interview with a former hedge fund manager, so you guys can also hear and learn from what's happening from the real professionals, the people who are running funds, how they look at the world, how they look at crypto, and how they look at the stock market. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, folks. Hope you guys enjoy this analysis. Tons of information packed. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoy my content, and I will talk to y'all soon. All right. Cheers, and come join Advantage.